Look at these lines that I drew in MS Paint. If I were to ask you which ones on the right match the one on the left, what would you say? Using my wonderful prediction skills, I wager that you'd pick this one right here. And if you did, you would be right.
Woohoo!
Or would you? What if you were in a room full of people telling you that it's actually not that one, but this one instead? You'd probably say that they were wrong. But in the Ash conformity experiment, the person being experimented on would conform to the wrong group answer. Oh, what was that? You don't know the Solomon Ash conformity experience from 1951? Well, actually, I already explained it through the hypothetical from the beginning of this video. Solomon Ash would quite literally just place an individual in a group full of actors who would say the wrong answer to see if that individual would conform to the group's answer. And more often than not, they did. Of course, he also did a couple beginning trials where both the actors and subjects gave the correct answer, presumably so that the subject would lower their guard or so that the actors seemed more reliable. The findings? Overall, 74% of participants gave at least one incorrect answer out of the 12 critical trials. The reason this experiment is placed so high on a podium is because it showed how powerful social pressure can be, how much people are willing to conform to fit into the group. Okay, but wait, what exactly is conformity? According to this section of the first International H5P edition of Principles of Social Psychology, conformity is one of the results of social influence or pressure that causes a change in an individual's behavior, perceptions, or opinions due to the real or imagined influence of other people. Some great modern examples are trends that you'd see on social media. If you suddenly noticed that everyone around you was raving about the new Lupupu Dubai chocolate or whatever, you would likely be, at the very least, interested in what it was, just in case it comes up in a conversation later. So you wouldn't feel like the odd one out if you lacked any information on the trend. Also, if you were in a group of people who were clearly fans of the trend, and they asked your opinion on them, you would probably feel a bit of social pressure to give it some lighthearted or even enthusiastic support, even if logically you shouldn't really care about their opinion. Going back to the Ash experiment, we can clearly see that the subject's behavior shifted when everyone around them was giving the wrong answer. Actually, even the opposite was true. Once someone else would go against the group's unanimous answer, the subjects would feel more comfortable going with their original answer, which also happens to prove how people usually conform so that they aren't alone. Therefore, this experiment is a great example of conformity through social pressure. Or, at least it was. While there is definitely some earned praise for Ash's conformity experiment, I believe there could be some improvements made to this old study. First, after taking in as many participants as we can so that we have a good sample size, we'll have 3 different groups and 3 different subgroups within those groups. These groups will first be divided by age: school children, teenagers, and adults. Then, these groups will be divided by gender: women, men, and a mixed group that has a random, uneven number of both. Each participant will be randomly assigned their group. Doing the experiment this way will help us find as many significant findings as we can. We will be avoiding anyone that has any mental disorder that may cause an unintentional influence on them than if it were just to be the experiment, so we can get the cleanest data possible. The experiment will go like this. At the front of the room, there will be a slideshow of different opinions based on the age group, such as blue is the best color for children, Lana Del Rey sucks for teenagers, and the economic state of the world is going to collapse in the next few years for adults. Participants will be placed in linear formation, and there will be actors who will say their opinions before the subject can, like in the original experiment. Similarly, the opinions the actors will say will be varied, and there won't be any unanimous group answer. After the first few trials, the actors will begin swinging towards a singular collective opinion. For some additional factors, other experiments can have a circular formation of tables so that they would be forced to directly see and be seen by the other members. A survey will be taken before and after the experiment to see if their minds changed at all, to measure just how much each individual conformed. If your opinion didn't change in the survey, but you did go with the group's answer, then you displayed the usual form of conformity. If your opinion in the survey changed and you went with the group's answer, then you have been heavily influenced. Data will be collected by the person running the experiment through a recording so that participants don't see their answers being written down, in case that can cause some unintentional influence. For children and teens, we can go through the schools to recruit them so that it can seem more trustworthy and get consent easier than if we were just to start asking them their opinions out on the street. For adults, we'll just go with college students. The materials will be as follows: a pre-made slideshow, digital and physical surveys, a room, and desks. For measurements, we will use an overall score to see how much each subject conformed based on the 2 surveys and their performance in the experiment. And that's the redesign.